I just want to begin this by expressing a pretty simple phrase, in that words cannot truly describe how important a strong relationship with a father is to any boy. Now, that statement in itself is one of the most significant lessons I've learned through my 18 years of life. But as I've gotten older, I've begun to learn more and more about how blessed I am to have Paul Wilson as my dad. My dad is my hero, and though that seems like such a typical generic phrase to start this speech with, I'm going to spend the next few minutes explaining to all of you how he defines what it means to not just be an amazing father, but also an amazing man. I wanted to direct my speech to try to give everybody something to learn from through example of how we can all strive to be the best versions of ourselves. Because one thing I've learned from my dad is that no matter what happens to us in our lives, do not ever let anything stop you from being the best husband, father, son, brother, and whatever it may be that you know that you can be. So when COVID struck the globe in 2020, catastrophically impacted the lives of millions, many of us saw our dads have to do their work from home. For my family, though, it was just another normal day in the Wilson house. Because since when I was about 3 years old, my father's worked from home as the head of sales of our family business, an opportunity that has allowed him, my siblings, and I to spend lots and lots of time together. Now, my father never missed any of my games. He was always willing to drive Carter, Louise, and I to and from school, be there at any time of the day when any of us needed him, and the list goes on. My dad, in my eyes, completely defines what it means to be a father, and that he cares for his family more than anything else and is willing to do absolutely anything to assure that every member of his family is happy. But those are just some examples of the role of a responsible, loving, and caring father. But I wanted to use this time to discuss 3 very significant times in my father's life where he has had defying moments in which he's needed to find the strength inside of him to push through very, very challenging times. So when I was in the 5th grade, my dad had come to the realization that his life had become unmanageable and he needed recovery. So he set out for the next 2 years in working his absolute tail off to become the best version of himself, not just for his own well-being, but to also to best serve his family, because he knows that's what matters over everything. My dad understood that what he was on a path towards was not healthy by any means, and he decided to make that personal and professional change. So following countless and countless hours of counseling and hard work, my dad had completely turned his life around and become a complete superhero for my family. And for the next 6+ years and to this day, my dad has been more than an active member in the recovery community. As he began and continues to sponsor all sorts of people, he earned a role as a member on the board of Cumberland Heights in 2017. He's taken charge of a steering committee to raise money for the Cumberland Heights Arch Academy, which is basically a center for adolescent boys that provides them with the treatment to recover from substance abuse to assist them on their path to achieve their educational goals. He's assisted in raising millions of dollars for the purpose of creating the Arch Academy through countless hours of nightly meetings and tours around the complex in hopes of attracting potential donors. He was able to achieve all of this through his faith, and it has become an absolute integral part of who he is. My dad didn't just turn his life around. He decided to use his story to assist hundreds and thousands of people of all ages on their journey to recovery with zero judgment whatsoever. Dad, your dedication to serve anyone who comes in need of help is special, and the example that you set to all around you is something that I've always admired about you. Your commitment to improve yourself each and every day is a top-of-the-line quality for anyone to have, and your willingness to do whatever it takes for the benefit of people you care about displays such strong character within you. But this point is not where his story ends. In fall of 2019, my grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, my grandfather was a very uniting figure in our family and was a very humble, beautiful soul that loved and cared for all around him. The bond my dad had with his father is unbreakable, and seeing his dedication to being right by my granddad's side through the entire process was heartwarming. So when my grandfather was in the midst of treatment, my dad spent multiple nights in the hospital and accompanied him to most of his immunotherapy treatments. He traveled on a daily basis down to Murfreesboro where my grandparents lived to keep him company and assist him in every step of the way. My dad, throughout the whole battle, used every ounce of energy within him to be there for his whole family, and especially when my grandfather sadly passed away in August of 2020. Dad, Granddad is so proud of the man you have become through your journey of life, the commitment you have to our entire family, and the humble nature you have to yourself. Though this is the point where I would have ideally liked to end my speech about my superhero father leading our family and strengthening us through whatever happens, The story, unfortunately, doesn't end there. Recently, my family was faced with the most devastating event that may ever happen to us. On January 9th, 2021, my older brother, best friend, and role model, Carter Everett Wilson, tragically passed away in an accident at the age of 20 while down in Auburn. To set the scene, it was just another normal Saturday. I was out with some friends. My dad was picking up dinner, my mom and sister were at home, and everything seemed all right. But out of nowhere, my dad was faced with the phone call that God forbid any of you ever receive in your life. His firstborn child, Carter, was gone. Months after losing his own father, my dad had just lost his own son. And just take a second and look at the overall picture of what I've been telling you today. My father worked for years to better himself for his family. He built strong faith in what he believed in and used that to guide him on his journey. And my father then lost his own father in August of 2020, and he was the complete uniting force in his family for everyone around him as they mourned this death, not to mention the death of his own father. He was caring and seeking to help everyone else before himself. And about 5 months after the death of his father, he loses his son in a shocking, tragic death. The strength it takes to carry on following such a catastrophic event is something people told me I would have to spend years finding. And right here, what I'm about to tell you is one of the most amazing things that I've ever witnessed in my life. Following the death of his own son, my dad took it upon himself not to only fight this new battle in his life, filled with pain and grief, but he also put every single member of his family and everyone else around him before him, and he refused to let himself recover unless we were all there progressing right there with him. That, in my eyes, is what a father should be, a man that in the darkest of times will lead his entire family, providing them with unconditional love. And no one should ever have to experience this level of pain in their life. But here we are. I'm up here giving a speech exactly 2 months after the date of my brother's death, because I could not go on without saying and sharing with all of you today how lucky I am to be blessed with my father. I faced a time where I told myself I never wanted to leave my house again and that my life would never be near the same. And I struggled, but my dad was the one that picked me up. Dad was the one that taught me to use this tragedy to build my faith instead of tear it down. Dad was the one that taught me how to be strong in the face of adversity. And Dad was the one that taught me how to be the absolute best man I can be at all times, while through it all, absorbing the pain of losing the boy who taught him how to be a father. My dad didn't ask for any pity. He didn't ask for any attention. Instead, he focused his energy on reinforcing to his whole family how much he loves and cares for every single one of us. Just think about that. 2 of the most significant figures in my father's life were taken, and his initial reaction is to help others. That quality of selflessness, loving, caring man that my father is something I strive to be each and every day. And as I said before, words cannot describe how important a strong relationship with a father is to a boy. Without the relationship that my father and I have, I would be completely lost, struggling to find the answers to my brother's death. But my dad has provided my whole family with the love and positivity that we've all needed, and the impact he's had on my life is something that I'm forever blessed with. Dad, I'd be lucky to grow up and be half of the man that you are. I'm beyond grateful for you, and I wish I could talk forever, but I have to end my speech here. I love you, and thank you for everything.